To kick us off first, I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank Kickback just for the venue and the opportunity, and also want to shout out to Cxmmunity, who we partnered with kind of officially at Riot Games. First thing I want to talk about is just give you an idea of what the program is, and then we'll dive in. You'll get to hear about it from the class that just went through it. So about 2.5 years ago now, we just recognized this, let's call it an opportunity or a gap or a problem to solve, where we weren't getting applications from underrepresented minorities. And so the big question was, okay, well, what can we do about that? And we kind of landed on, not even this program first, but the two thoughts were, we need to educate and then create experiences. By educate, I mean, we recognized just in different discussions we had with universities and other partners like Cxmmunity that there was this kind of misunderstanding in underrepresented minority communities about the esports community from a career perspective, or the esports industry from a career perspective, in that parents mostly just thought that the only way to have a job in esports is to be a professional gamer, right? When nothing could be further from the truth, right? There's several verticals and industries that are supported in esports, and so okay, we have to educate people about that. And then the other one was experience, and by that I just mean get bullet points on resumes. And so that kind of filtered us down to the Esports Immersion program. The one thing I always say about the program is that instead of going a mile deep in a traditional internship, we go a mile wide and give students exposure across all the different teams and departments that it takes to run an esports, like broadcast and events and digital planning and partnerships. So that was kind of the genesis of it, and then here we are 2 years later with our second class. And just to brag on them for a second, we didn't plan on this, but I think the easiest kind of emotionally cushy way to say it is I just fell in love with all these students. It was phenomenal. It was just the best 3 months of a summer that I've had in a really long time. So let me shut up because I want you to hear directly from them. Our first question for all of you that I'm going to actually ask each of you to answer is if you could just kind of briefly describe your experience over the summer. Hector, yeah, you want to kick us off?
All right, can you hear me? Okay, awesome. All I can really say it was amazing, not gonna lie. It was a really great experience, especially coming to LA, be able to be on campus. That's probably the best week out there, just kind of be able to see the team in person, be able to get some food, hang out.
Be on campus.
Just in general, it was a really amazing experience being there.
Cool. Cameron?
For me, it was more so empowering because when I was told about Riot, applying or working there, it was always how competitive it is, and you have to do all of this to even try to get a chance to interview or intern there. And so at the program, it was I was given a chance to really prove myself, no matter my GPA, no matter what grade I'm in. And so I am always going to carry the fact that this program is showing me that I can do so much more than any transcript can prove.
Yeah, I want to comment on that one, and I'm sure a lot of you in the audience can relate. Actually, I'll start by saying many, if not all, Rioters get this sense of imposter syndrome when they start at Riot, this big company, and oh my gosh, am I supposed to be here? And I can say, and I mean this as a compliment, I promise, every one of them were pretty wide-eyed and bushy-tailed when they came in, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here, kind of thing. And then it was pretty incredible through the end of the summer, which we'll dive into this a little bit, watching you all grow, and Cameron in particular, in confidence. And I remember our kind of exit interviews and last sign-offs, you just all seemed I don't want to say grown up because that sounds kind of condescending, but I mean just more confident, which was great. So love that point. Tim?
So for me, I definitely feel it was a dream come true working at Riot, because I've always wanted to work in video games and just in the entertainment industry in general, but getting there always seemed a bit difficult. You could ask anyone, and I'm sure many of you here probably are interested in working in the gaming industry too, probably understand how difficult it really is to get there. So to have this opportunity really changed my life, and I did everything I could to make sure while I was there, I could get the most out of it by communicating with people as much as I could and just learning as much as I could. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah, there were times when Tim would be late, to me, dude, where were you? He'd be I just had a one-on-one. He just kept, meeting as many people as he could at Riot, which I commend you for. Caleb?
I'd say for sure that the program was a real eye-opener. It definitely taught me a lot. It's kind of like they put us in the executive chair. Like since the beginning of the program to the end, it's like, okay, we need you to do this. We're going to teach you how to do it, but everything is completely up to you. So we had creative freedom in most of the things that we did, and it really gave us that confidence to really do whatever we want in esports. That's one of the main things that I took away from the program. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit. Each week, they would get paired up with a team. If I remember right, you started with the events team. And the whole idea was the events team would just kind of teach them like, hey, this is how we do our job. And then they would like break out and have to go do assignments or tasks or projects that ultimately led into the actual event, working up to the LCS summer finals, which we all got to meet as a little reunion tour. And so to Caleb's point, like it was kind of like learn how to do and then go do, which I think also, competency builds confidence, right? And that was one thing, at least in my opinion, that led to you all just being more confident. You knew so much more about esports than you did at the start. So yeah, good point, Caleb. Kiwi?
For me, I would just say that I think what I took away the most was just the sense of having to create and explore and learn with all these group of people that I'm with right now. Me as being a transfer student, I didn't get a lot of, community coming into my school, but since being in this program, I felt like I'd grown a lot of relationships with these people, and I just feel like we can be able to do anything we put our minds to. So. Yeah,
I'm really happy you brought that up. We certainly, like the goal, like I said, is educate and experience, but there's this, in particular with this group, I don't want to call it a secondary goal, but thing that comes out of it is just teamwork and team building and team bonding, right? To step on that a little harder, one of our rituals was that we would have a daily stand-up where I would ask a question of the group, very like get to know you type questions. And what happened through that over the course of the summer was like, we went from kind of being strangers and acquaintances to like, I can honestly call these people like brothers and sisters. Like I love them that much because we just got to know each other so well. We did this get to know you kind of character sheet based off of Marvel characters and identify like what are our strengths and weaknesses and superpowers, and just the discussions that came from that really led to this sense of community and camaraderie that I think you were touching on, Caleb. Ahmad?
Yeah, so for me, this internship was completely life-changing. The mentorship that I got at Riot, shout out to Alvin Abia, the community that I got at Riot was completely life-changing. I'm in business, in cybersecurity, so the companies and the company culture are not like that of Riot. And what I left with was so important. It's stuff that I'm going to use for the rest of my life. I hadn't touched a Riot game before I worked at Riot. I sucked at all of them to start, but Steve...
It's true, he did. He was really bad.
Oh, yeah. Steve and all these guys, they helped me. They taught me so many things about myself, about the way that I communicate with others, and they taught me so much about what I want to do in my career. I tell everyone, if you haven't applied for the internships at Riot, you need to do it now. And if you haven't applied for the internships at Community, you need to do that right now in this building. So, yeah.
Take out your phones and apply. We won't be offended. Mako, go ahead.
Yeah, to wrap it up, I would just like to say that I feel very blessed and thankful for the opportunity to even work at Riot because it's such a top-tier company, along with being based upon the gamers and for the gamers, along with just the A3 team. Like, we really rock together.
Preach.
So it's beautiful.
Preach, Mako. Good. Okay, we can ping pong this one around a little bit, but let's. This would be really relevant for the audience here. Give me one thing that you can and will apply to your future careers that you learned in the internship program. Soft skills, hard skills, maybe a specific field thing. But yeah, what's one kind of takeaway that you can take into your future careers?
I can go. So I remember talking to Steve about this, and something that I was struggling with at the very beginning is having confidence in my own decisions. And so definitely 100% after that, after everything that we went through, after being together with the team, I can 100% say that just being more confident in myself, being more confident in my abilities, and just trusting my instincts is what I just 100% take away from it.
Yeah, we had, I think it was our last one-on-one, if I remember right. Got pretty emotional too, if I remember, not to call you out, but you know, I told you a few things that I want to share here. One was that if you want to work at Riot, that's up to you. That's not up to us, right? Like you can control that more than we can, right? I even told you, you know, put something on your desk that you see every single day that reminds you, like, yeah, this is my goal. This is where I'm going to go. And then to elaborate on that too, you know, wherever you want to work, whether it's at Riot or any other company, right? It's not. That's the North Star, right? But the point is, like, you don't just jump to that, you know what I mean? Just get a little better every day and do something, gain a little bit more experience, work on yourself a little bit more every single day. That's how you get there, you know what I mean? It's not, you don't just shoot right for the North Star. So yeah, really good. Really good, Hector. Anybody else?
To piggyback off of Hector with confidence, because with the program, like there was no fear in rejection or like conflict. Like even the first day we were fighting for 15 minutes over a glass, like because we did an activity and it was just like choosing like, oh, what would be best to survive, and everybody was bickering on like what was the number one task be, and it was just fun. Like there's no problem in not agreeing with each other, and that's almost like the best thing that you can take from something, to not be afraid of like what you say, because there are people who are going to disagree, but it's fine because we're all going to get to some conclusion no matter what, and just being confident in yourself and your own vices.
Yeah, really good. I don't want to interrupt, so keep going. Really good, Cameron.
All right. So for me, I think a big thing was team building and communication, just because it's honestly such a big thing, and I'm personally an introvert and wasn't as good at communicating as I would like to think I am. So having to like do that every day, constantly having to like go to the meetings, constantly having to like talk to people and get used to talking to people in like a business sense as well as like a friendly sense, because at Riot, playing games is really big. So that's like your way of like networking and communicating with other people. So like while you're playing games, like yeah, you might not think about it, but you're still like gaining experience by like connecting with people. So I guess that was probably a big thing for me.
Yeah, I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit. I heard this great quote last week that it's very important to practice communication and articulation, because when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And to connect that to this program, I remember, I'll cite back to the little Marvel character sheet thing that we did to get to know each other. When you all presented that, you know, you were pretty, like I said, you know, deer in headlights, like, you know, like insecure, and like not really sure what to say. But then fast forwarding to, you know, the presentations we did with partnerships and about the on-site activations for the LCS, like you guys, you were like totally different. Each one of you presented with confidence and, you know, articulation, and it was really great to see that. And obviously, Tim, to your point, a really great thing to take into your future careers as well. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest takeaway I have from the internship was learning how to finesse. And now I use that term because you really learn how to do whatever you want to do throughout the program. Like I can say for sure, like everyone goes through a process, whether it be playing a game or anything else in life. You got to learn how to do something. You got to learn how to navigate your own way. And Riot taught me kind of that process. Like no matter what it is I want to do, like this is the start, and this is how I'm going to end up where I want to go. Like, the finesse skill is crazy. Anybody here, all of my colleagues, my friends, lifelong friends here, they can attest to it. There's nothing we can't do, because we learned that foundation, like how to finesse, like how to get to where we want to go.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot, right? Like I kept asking you, like, just what do you care about? Like, what are you passionate about? What's the thing you want to pursue? And each one of you, by the end of it, had 1, 2, if not 3 things, like kind of career paths that you chose. Really good, Caleb. Anybody else?
I would just say, basically piggybacking off what you said, Steve, passion was one thing that I took really impactful as well. Just being internship at a gaming company, that was something that I never thought I could be able to do, but having that passion and drive to continue and just keeping good faith and knowing that I could be in there just led me to this opportunity to be with all my colleagues as well. And I just feel like now having that passion that I can do this, I feel like I can do anything. But also another thing as well, I feel that I take away would be the fun of the internship as well. I feel like this internship by far was probably the most fun I've had working and getting paid to do it. So I think that was
Fall Guys, what up? Yeah. Okay. I was so bad. Do you guys want to go? Amado or Mako?
So I think the biggest takeaway from just Riot in general is just worth and value. Working at Riot, being an intern or a full-time, we know all about the full-times. You have such a connection to so many people that have grown up playing these games and grown up idolizing these characters. And when you work at Riot, you are the connection between the company and the player, excuse me. So when I was working at Riot, them giving us gifting rights and things, and even at the airport as I left, taking some of the merch that we had been given, and there was some guy like a gaming lounge, and he had been playing for so long, the games for so long. And I took my Tibbers bear, and I was like, dude, it's a lucky day, you got a Riot worker here. And dude just like started crying and losing it. This is a grown man, by the way. He starts crying, losing it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. He started crying, losing it. He called his manager up because he just felt like he'd been playing Riot games for so long, but he had got nothing back. And that's what's so important about being a Riot Games worker or working anywhere, is that you have a connection to the people. So it's up to you whether you want to connect with them and change their life, just like the company is changing yours. So that's what I took from that.
Wow, love that. You remember our mission statement? What is it? We aspire to be
the number one
player-focused company in the world. I didn't share this with you all, but like I said, it all kind of culminated into they all got to work the LCS Summer Finals in Chicago back in September. The thing I didn't share with you was they had the opportunity to go do what we call swag distro to fans. In between games, they take like little plush toys and throw them up into the fans. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys lost your minds like with that out, right? You're going out like you were so excited about it each time. And the first time you did it, I was up there looking down at you just with tears in my eyes because I could tell it's like you just drank the Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? Like you were so, it wasn't the experience of like chucking it, it was the experience of like giving something to fans, and I could, it was palpable. I could just see that on all of you. So yeah, really good. I've completely lost track of time, but let's just keep going until they kick us off. Any surprises, anything that surprised you about the program? Like, we all kind of have our preconceived notions of what it's going to be like, and then, a week in, 3 months in, where you're like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Mako?
So, yeah, the biggest surprise to me, just because of the type of person I am, was the role I had to take and really take a step back from being the first person to speak. Like, even being up here, I try to let all of my peers speak and get their ideas and thoughts off, because I can come off a little aggressive, but at the end of the day,
I know what you're talking about.
It helps to hear everybody's thought and really encourage your peers to speak up so we can get the same goal accomplished.
Yeah, your big transformation was the life raft activity that we did. For quick context, it's this team building activity where they're basically given this list of like 15 different items in this hypothetical scenario, or fictional scenario, that they're like lost at sea basically, and you have to rank the items by importance. And I'm going to put it lightly, Mako just completely dominated the conversation and said like what we needed to do. But by comparison to the end of the summer, you were much more reserved, and even like asking people what their opinions were. And yeah, it was just very transformational, really cool to see that. Anybody else, surprises?
First thing, Mako was right about the oil. I say it, Mako was right about the oil.
And the mirror.
Inside joke. But yeah. What surprised me is how much control they were giving us, to be honest. They weren't playing about going a mile wide and an inch deep. They covered a lot, and they really gave us our own leeway to like dive into what we want to do. Like, we had control and the creative process for anything that we did throughout the program, and that really surprised me. I was expecting to be just told, do this, do that, not why or really how to do it.
Yeah, we gave you quite a bit of autonomy, right? Which was really, you guys came up with the floor plan for the LCS finals. Yeah, really good. I remember too, you being like, even the looks on your faces, like, are you sure we're allowed to do that? Yeah, good. Anybody else? Surprises? Go ahead, Cameron.
I was shocked at how many people were willing to put in time. Like, they were actively working on their own projects, but they would come into our Google Meet and like show us like what they're doing and what our little project for the week is. And it was just like amazing that people, like, they're willing to teach us, even though like they have stuff, they have other lives to do. Like they're getting paid for something else, but they're here. They're not being like, especially like, okay, you're getting an extra little gift for this. Like they just did it out the kindness of their heart.
Yeah, and as part of the program too, each intern gets a guide or mentor as well that's dedicated that they can have sometimes a weekly one-on-one with. Yeah, really good. Tim, did you have one?
Yeah, mine is similar to Caleb's, where it was just like, I wasn't expecting the program to be what it was. Because I originally applied as soon as I saw the flyer saying, hey, do you want to work at Riot? Like, of course, who wouldn't want to work at Riot? And then, before the informational session, because my background is mainly in computer science and 3D animation. So when I see the information session talking about, oh yeah, no, this is mainly about like soft skills, like how well can you communicate with people, how well can you work on a team, oh, and you're going to work on like literally every aspect of creating LCS, I was like, sure, okay. Like I could not like even fathom that. It's like seeing a series, like getting a spoiler for a series that you just started and you're on episode 1, and they're telling you like something that happens like way down the line, like season 7. Like there's no way I would have been able to like understand. So like I was like super shocked seeing like everything happen and fully understanding like, oh, okay, so that's what you meant by we're gonna work on like every part of LCS, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna elaborate on this one a little bit. I love that you brought this up. And I don't want to overshare, but you know, as you can imagine, we get thousands and thousands of applications throughout the year, and what that does from a hiring perspective is, you know, we basically only move people to interview that have the craft competency that they need, right? Which is kind of stating the obvious in a way. So because of that, what we focus on a lot in the interview process that we dove into a lot in the program is soft skills, right? We care a lot about culture and empathy and collaboration. Like that's what we interview for, you know what I mean? Because we know that you can probably do the job if we're interviewing you for it, given the amount of candidates that we have. So we talked a lot about those soft skills and built on those. That's why we did like, you know, LifeAtRiot team building. You know, that has nothing to do with esports or the craft competency, but it has a lot to do with how we work as a team, and that's something we really care about at Riot. Okay, I'm pretty sure we're over time, but let's do one more quick question. Just any advice for the audience, things that you'd kind of pass on from you know, from what you learned from in the program.
So my biggest advice would be to go for whatever you want. It's not that far. Like anything you can really think of and dream of is attainable. You just have to take those skills and really seek the help.
I have one too. Transparency. Like when you meet someone and you meet someone at Riot or community, tell them that you want to work for them. Even if you're too young, even if you're middle school, high school, you're not in college or working, anything. Tell them that you want to work for them. The more they know about you, the more they care about you, the more they want you to work at their company. So just be transparent, and just like Mako said, you know, your dreams are attainable. We're a great example, you know. I know Tim has been playing for his entire life, and you know, he thought that this was a dream, and look at him, he's on the stage right now talking about it. So definitely push for those dreams.
Yeah, advocate for yourself. Yeah, really good, Mako. Cameron?
I remember on I think it was the last day that an amazing person went up to me and told me to make them fight for you. Like, no matter what the company is, they should want you for you, and like, you should not be like losing sleep, not eating for any company, and like, remember that you should work for someone who cares about you as a person, and just remember that before anything else.
Preach, love it, good. Caleb?
Yeah, I would say show your passion. The only thing that they can see until they meet you is your resume. So whatever it is that you want to do, make sure it's reflected on that paper. The only thing that's stopping y'all from getting what you want, going where you want to go, is opportunity. And the best way to get the opportunity is to show your passion for it. You got to make it yourself.
Very good. Anybody else? Yeah, I got one. I'll tack on too if you want to, you know, just something you learned about the esports industry that you think would be fun to share that maybe surprised you as well, if you want to add on to that. Tim?
All right, so my biggest thing is, even if you don't exactly know everything, there's going to be times where you don't know everything. So just understand that, and just, you know what you do know, and dial in on that. Because if you dial in on that, then you'll actually be able to have results. Like, even if you don't know anything else, at least you have that.
Yeah, I've been at Riot for 6 years, and I'm constantly impressed by the people that I work with and how much I still don't know, and that's okay. It's okay to admit that, and like you said, Tim, just lean on what you do know. Anybody else? I'll wrap us out. Hector, last one.
I'll say this is kind of hard to like come up with something after everybody said, but kind of going off of what Marco said about like saying just go for it. Even if you don't think you have the skills or the qualifications to do what you want to do, go for it. Because the worst thing that could happen is they say no, just for that time. Because
and then you move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, great one in on. Thank you all for letting us hang out and just kind of go down memory lane. It was a blast. Appreciate it.